Okay, the DNC so I was watching Portland Andy's stream. I'm betting there's probably people who they we just happen to attract the same kind of watchers. But I was watching Portland Andy, watching Portland Andy attempt to save 7-Eleven. If anybody understands that joke from back then, save Sevi's from the communist menace. And I know, from what I gather, the 7-Eleven he was talking about did end up having to close because of riotous Portland communist garbage. And so it's, yeah. But anyway, the thing that I was noticing, I was like, oh yeah, there's a row and there's trouble and this and that going on and this and that. But what really started to hit me was watching, when this dude stands up and says this stuff about J.D. Vance's daughter and his wife, that he wants them to be sexually assaulted so that J.D. Vance can then know the pain. So this is, of course, one of the typical Democratic Party myths about abortion, that it is used because of all the various. He's talking about really just the straight up graping, criminal grape. But they try to use it, and there's all these poor women who can't have children. And what this really is always about is middle-class white girls who don't want some loser's kid, but she wants to keep fucking around. And now that aspect of the culture itself is well known. Like, everybody knows that that's kind of both what college and quote-unquote traveling mean to so many women. And really this is kind of the secret of, quote-unquote, kind of good white women, who are liberal, is really, they're just loose. It's mostly what it translates to. And it just depends on what do you offer? Do you have a nice pair of shoes? Did you go to the Champs-Elysees or whatever? But did you go to Portugal? It's like, do you like talking about the same band? Like, oh, and then I ended up knocked up. A poor former college student. I was fresh out of college and I couldn't afford to start a family. I mean, you got knocked up. You were a dumb slut who got knocked up. You're a dumb white slut. You got knocked up. And you have an English degree. What do you do? And so that's a big part of what really this idea of abortion rights and reproductive rights really is. And so then you see this weird thing of the protesters saying, so supposedly they're protesting for not just Gaza, but then they were saying it's reproductive rights in Gaza. And so I'm sitting back thinking, like, okay, that just doesn't even make sense. Like, it's one that just, that just doesn't even make sense. Any knowledge about the socio-political culture under Hamas leadership is to breed like rabbits and use your children, almost hurl them at people, light them on fire and hurl them at people. Some of the most notoriously abusive people toward their children that could even be imagined. And this isn't even just as being mean or, those muzzies, no. There's a lot of footage, a lot of people have come out over the past decades, people who grew up and out of it. They were like, well, who do you think these people are? Who are the Palestinians who live inside Israel? These are people who are, they're like black people who don't live in Baltimore. That they're like, I'm not moving to Baltimore. Are you crazy? Do you know how they behave there? Well, that's the Palestinians who live in Israel. They're going, I'm not moving out there. Are you crazy? Do you know how they behave? Like, because they know. They do know, like, no, this tendency for people to be into Marxist Leninism and Salafism has changed fundamentally the way that they think of the world culturally. And it's also that it's a worldview that pulled people into it, like people who actually like the second half of the Quran. Well, this makes sense then. That only under something like a Salafist, Marxist-Leninist kind of state could you have something like the latter half of the Quran. So in a totalitarian, authoritarian state, that violence is what, that the reward for disobedience to the law is violence or some form of collective punishment, that's the kind of people who are not the Palestinians not living in Israeli within the Israeli state, very likely. Then they have plenty to offer too to a civilized, stable country. Now I'm certain it is not in any way all roses. It's not all flowers. It's not all roses, but that's diversity. I mean, people don't really get that it's like, no, that's why shahs and sultans rule diverse places with violence, because they're diverse, and you have to keep people from killing each other, because that's too often what people do. The democratic forms of government have not figured out how to deal with this yet, and Britain shows us this. So, what now and so to buttress that, we then see this statement said at the DNC about Vance's female family members. So, this is the whole thing with feminism, actually. It is completely conditional. It's totally and completely conditional. It only matters if you are the kind of woman who they like. Feminism ends and becomes totalitarian, authoritarian, vengeful violence against people, using the law against people, the minute it's not you and your other friends in the party. Bernie Sanders, now let me take it a little further. Bernie Sanders, exposed openly. Everybody got a phone call to step aside. So somehow there's a bunch of shit libs who are trying to say, no. There was no big plan. Bernie didn't have it stolen from him. They just told everyone to step down. Like, it's amazing, like, this slimy gangster, like, you just overcoat, a fedora, hiding maybe another smaller hat underneath, kind of, East Coast steel city, slime ball, I mean, like, everything that the Democrats do now, you could put Pauly and Silvio Dante saying it and doing it. Like, hey, we got this great tax plan. Even though your assets have not been sold, we'll evaluate what your assets are worth and we'll take a little off the top. It's so Silvio Dante politics in the Democrats now. It just, and then promises of violence toward people. Promises of it. Suggestions of it. What a look. And then, even beyond all that, so this tendency toward saying that they'll do something to other people, coming up with economic, legal policies that that would actually make investment worthless and would probably cause, like, old people to go poor. This whole idea of your assets haven't come to fruition, you haven't sold them, but we're going to take a bit off the top right now. that would destroy old people very quickly. And it would allow them to get out of pension programs. That's what I'm looking at. They need to get out of their pension promises. This would get them out of their pension promises. Because you couldn't have a law like this unless you included pension programs, because those are investments. So that's how they make their money. And so now it's literally robbers. They're robbers. They're violent people who riot. They are actively against police keeping people secure. That's one that really, more and more, I think people should really start taking seriously, because it's just done flat on, right there in front of you. They don't believe in keeping people secure with the police. And that's a very strange idea, that they think there's something very, very good about that. They think that there's some great high and moral cause not keeping people safe by using law enforcement effectively. Showing that the Democrats will most certainly engage in the type of policing that you're seeing in Britain now. That that a woman insulted her rapist, so she's now serving more time than he did for her rape. That's the world the Democrats really do want to bring, especially to white communities, because they believe that this is some issue of pardon me. They believe it's some Hegelian bullshit of comeuppance, historical comeuppance on whitey by all these people and all these categories. All the women finally get their kicks in, to the ribs, but yet, what do the feminists do? Women are more unsafe than ever in major cities, and the feminists are nowhere to be found. In fact, they have to go along with the Democratic pundits saying that crime is down, even though it's not. We get, when people answer surveys, we're finding no, this isn't a significant drop. This has risen over the past few years, and maybe has not gotten worse since last year. Maybe. We don't know. We haven't gone through the numbers. Many of these places don't have responsive 911 or responsive police anymore. LA, now one of the videos that you could find almost now weekly on YouTube are stores being looted all across LA and the Bay Area of the Oakland Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area of California. This idea, sideshows, when people actually try to then make a artificial roundabout. There's no, you can't. Do you have a license for that? You have a license to keep people from whipping their cars around for hours at a time and destroying your houses and scaring everybody and then stealing your cars or breaking into them and taking your stuff out of your car. I mean, everybody has to now go along with crime. They have to go along with the criminals. And it's get along liberal cowardice. That's the issue. That liberals, they've shown what kind of character type. They're these really weird people who are cowardly and say things like your wife should be raped so that you really understand why abortion is important. Not we should kill rapists so that there's fewer of them. Because, you see, the Democrats don't deal with what is known about the crime. Because there's something about them that is so demented and twisted, they know if they were to kill criminals, well, one day, somebody might go after them. Why? Why would you think that? Just a thought. Just a thought I have a lot. Of course the Republicans would come after me. Don't you understand? I'm like super important. I'm like super amazing liberal guy. I'm Swallows Well. I'm super amazing. I mean, they might hang me for treason we were to really do something about law and order, if we were to become some kind of law and order state, well, people like me, who knows what would happen to us, They know it. They know they're schemers. They understand that. A lot of liberal guys have to be schemers because they're physically fucked up. They need their glasses just to pee. They even so, their belly's too big for them to see. They're tiny little wee. Too many of the liberal guys are people like Destiny. They're on brain drugs, and you slowly find out, like, your cuck relationship works because you're a cool guy, and your hot wife comes back to you every night. Now she doesn't. So you're not a cool guy. And now you're this diminutive dude who wants there to be open violence against your political opponents because you keep getting you keep getting thrown to the floor, and then you get the kick to the butthole, and you run off with shit in your pants. You have to run off. Destiny has to run off with shit in his pants from debate after debate after debate. And it's great. He's the one who wants to defend being a loser. Most people don't want to be losers. It's a hard thing to defend. So, this is like really, and it's interesting now to see how the Democrats are showing themselves out. I really like how the feminists have to go along with a line like that. And none of them will say, no Democratic women will say anything. Why? Because liberal women think the same thing. They're even worse. That's probably like the first thought through their mind. Honestly. And really, when you're around them enough, because, it's like I have ears like a cat. So it's like when you're around liberals enough, you get to hear them say these just fucking horrid things that you're like, what's wrong with you fucking people? And that's why they love horror movies. That's why they love things that are demented and have to do with the anus, It's just like, and torture. They like movies where people are tortured and stuff like that. And it's just like, after a while, you're like, yeah, okay, no, this wasn't just something I thought I was seeing that was a little odd. No, this is really a thing. This is something very real in that part of the culture. And I think that there's a lot of people that they are also sitting back, like, not really knowing what to do or say. Like, they're like, something about this side of it is fucked up, because this isn't the people from the 60s weren't like this. That there's people who are old enough that they're like, no, like, people from the 60s weren't like this. This is not the same kind of vibe. And so they have to, it's because the right wing has made it so ugly. It's not that, no, the hippies vanished and punk rock took over, and from there it became crack dealing gangsters and chomos, like musician actor chomos. And now that's also the other thing that's killing the left, that to wind this all up, is that now it's starting to become so clear how sort of this world of the thespians and these music people, but it's that Hollywood. This is crushing. This has been crushing. And to have then almost every single marketing firm, everybody in marketing, the whole world of marketing being turned upside down and beaten to death with sticks. Like, yeah, we're not going to give you any money, but we sure came with something for you, and now all their money's on the ground in a pool of blood. Warner Brothers, it looks like they have to license it. These fuckers could not make money off of Bugs Bunny. They could not figure out how to make money off of 50 years of content. They couldn't figure it out. Amazing. And now, because men don't go to movies, men aren't spending their money on it. That's it. Everybody's saying it now. Everybody's like, no, it's totally over. Dudes are not spending their money on any of this anymore, and that's it. But nobody can say that in the offices. They can't say that in any way that could be understood at the corporate level. Like, the corporation knows they made content that was not what men wanted, but was kind of exactly the nadir of what men wanted. And what happened? Men didn't spend money on the content. So what then? We're fucked. We're going to have, and so now Warner Brothers is having to do the thing of they have to license things out because they don't have a creative team that they can trust anymore. They don't have a marketing team that they could trust anymore. Oh, by the way, in about 2 days, oh, well, who are you? Look at that cat. Look at your kitty. Yeah. That in about 2 days, I have another piece of furnishings, setting up more shelving, more space, and should be the last week of the month. I will be spinning tunes, and yeah, I've been quietly collecting records still, bit by bit, and one of the channel's sponsors, hello kitty, one of the channel's sponsors sent an item to, where are you going? You're gonna just go in my room. That's what. Oh, you're gonna go in. No, I was going to go in her room, but if you let me in your room, that would be really cool. But no. I like that. No, I just happen to be sniffing at this door. No. I don't love that about cats. What do you mean? No, buddy. I'm just saying hello, dude. I'm not trying to figure out where does this door go? I'm sure it goes someplace I want to go. Sure, I want to trap myself in there. But so I should be able to spin a session easily by next week. Wasn't that cool? Wasn't that tough? Was it tough enough? Come on, cut. There we go. Give me a second. We're gonna look at something cool, because I think I know what this is. There we go. Well, I do know what it is, but I think I know what record this is. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, no, I forgot. I had one of these coming in on vinyl. It's one of those things I'm like, I think I should buy a hard copy of this stuff while it still exists. No matter what, some of these bits are unbelievably ingenious. So there's some things I'm starting to collect. So just expecting them. And during some of the hot soul sessions, there'll be this little bit of funny business that'll pop in, like Noah. That's a great bit. So all right, yeah. And then by December, I should have a new gaming computer and new router and all kinds of things that have finally worked out. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys soon.